Yes, speaking of Darrell Henderson, who I just mentioned, he has a new backfield mate in Sony Michel. Justin was so sad that I told him about this news as soon as before the podcast started, because Justin has Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson in a dynasty league, which that's been terrible for you so far. Look, Sony Michel was not going to be a viable fantasy option on the New England Patriots. The only thing he was going to do was hurt the running backs on the team right now, hurt Damian Harris and hurt the rookie, which has got a lot of hype recently, Ramondre Stevenson, which we could talk about him in a second. So Sony Michel being traded to the Los Angeles Rams, and by the way, it's for a few conditional picks, and no pick is higher than like a 4th-round pick as far as I can understand. And you got to remember, Sony Michel was a 1st-round pick. He had a decent rookie year where he was fantasy viable. He helped them win a Super Bowl that year. So they got, Patriots got the most out of him they possibly can, I think. So they move him to LA. They clear up their backfield. They get some draft picks, which they're kind of in rebuilding right now. So it makes sense. The Rams needed, for real football, I know it sucks for fantasy for the Rams, but for real football, the Rams needed a body there because they lost Cam Akers. They weren't going to trust Xavier Jones and Jake Funk, the rookies. Darrell Henderson the other day had a hand injury, and a day and a half later, they trade for Sony Michel. So, look, Darrell Henderson's fine as far as I know. I haven't seen the latest update this morning, but as of last night, he was fine. So this is just safety measures. This is just an insurance policy for the Rams. So for fantasy football, Justin, how are you looking at this situation? Because and we're thinking in terms of redraft, right? But even in your dynasty team, do you feel comfortable with Darrell Henderson as your RB2 now, or are you a little worried?
I mean, it was bad news to hear, but the more I have time to process it, I don't think it really matters, to be honest, because, for example, I go on these forums and I want to get some insight to people who are hawking it, and one guy said, I think people are underestimating how much Michel's going to eat into Henderson's time. If they were to draft Le'Veon or Gurley, or rather if they were to sign him, then I would be less worried because they have some age on them. And I had a second to process that, and I think it's the opposite. If they were to go and get Gurley and Bell, how are you going to sign them and say, hey, we're going to sign you to just sit on the bench and back up? No, the only teams who are signing them right now are probably going to want to get some run out of them. Whereas if you trade for a younger guy like Michel, who's never had an opportunity for some late round draft picks, then it's like saying, okay, Henderson, we're going to run you out and see how it goes. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, at least we have a plan B. But I honestly don't think it matters. It doesn't seem like they gave up too much to get this guy. So I don't think it's an integral part. Maybe a couple random carries here and there. But what do you think? It's going to be a 10-10 split? No. I think Henderson's going to get 15. He'll get 5 or something at best. And I think Henderson will catch the passes too, because as far as I'm concerned, I don't think Sony's a great pass catching back.
No.
The more I think about it, the more I think it's, like you said, just slight insurance. Like, what are they going to do? They have to fill up their roster, so you might as well get somebody who you have some tape on rather than some older dude like Gurley who's probably going to want to run or just not play at all. So I actually don't care at all. It doesn't change much for me. I never expected a RB1 out of Henderson, but I don't think this makes him undraftable or a flex play at best. He's still kind of fringe RB2 to me.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. It honestly, I don't think we talk about this that much, but it might help Henderson because you don't want him out there every play. Like, you don't need a guy to play 80% of the snaps in order to be productive for you. That's rare, very, very high. Guys don't even are like Dalvin Cook, right? He doesn't even play that much of the snaps, very rare for like a CMC or like a James Robinson last year who was playing 90% plus of the snaps or even 100% some games. So a guy like Darrell Henderson, he's not going to do what Cam Akers was going to do, to be honest. He's going to play a very different game. And look, I don't mean that, like, I'm not comparing Darrell Henderson to Alvin Kamara, but look at the way Alvin Kamara plays. He doesn't have a lot of rushing yards. He doesn't have a lot of carries. He has some. He'll have like 10 carries and 7 targets, and that's the kind of productivity you want from Darrell Henderson. You want Darrell Henderson to get 6 targets and maybe 15 carries, right? You don't want him to get 22 carries, I mean, it'd be nice if he stays healthy, but he's a small guy, and he's had injury history. So having Michel there might help Darrell Henderson last the whole season and being able to take him off the field a little bit more. But you still can get that production from Darrell Henderson. So I don't think it hurts him that much. I still think with the targets, he's a 20-touch guy if you combine the carries and the targets. And Michel's just there for insurance. He's now the Malcolm Brown role. And even though that sucked, it didn't, make Henderson or Akers irrelevant in fantasy at all. So I think it should be fine, to be honest. So
I just don't understand, like, what Sony Michel's ever done to justify him, like, eating somebody's time. I get it. He's coming into a backfield that had an injured starter, and I just don't. He's never had a good string of games since that one little patch. Was it his rookie year that he came in?
Rookie year that he was good. Yeah, that's it.
So it's so long ago. I don't even let it phase me. Prove me wrong, basically. I'm not gonna let it fade me.
Yeah, it's it's really just honestly insurance for the Rams. That's pretty much what it is.